As we continue our study on the 7 areas of effective parenting, you may have taken the test on boundaries. Scoring low on the boundaries test could mean that you are exhausted, disorganized, or a conflict avoider. Or you may simply have a more playful and aloof personality. There may be various other reasons why you scored low, but the fact is your family and society need your growth in this area. Boundaries take a lot of energy, time, focus, relationships, balance, and communication. It is not easy to face conflict and uncomfortable emotions when kids don't like your boundaries or when people don't like your no. In a study from the University College London, researchers discovered that we tend to pursue the path of least resistance. We tend to select the option that requires the least amount of effort, which draws attention to 2 specific needs: the need for intentionality and the need for focused attention. Intentionality requires planning and energy and helps with setting, defining, and reinforcing boundaries. Focus requires disciplined attention and is important in establishing and pursuing goals. You probably already know this, but other people's love and approval are for them to give, when and how they want to. Yet some of us try to gain love and approval by easing up on limits and not setting proper boundaries. Likewise, other people's happiness, including that of your kids, is up to them. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to make our child happy by letting boundaries lapse or fall. That is an exhausting, never-ending road and a losing proposition. The truth is, we can never make someone a happy person. Not our children, not our spouse, not anyone. We all desire approval and love, but it's important that we get them in healthy ways. If we seek love and approval by setting weak or no boundaries, we end up hurting ourselves and others. When we set good boundaries, though they actually provide freedom. In the Psalms, David shows his love of God's commandments and rules. He says they keep him safe. These are good, healthy boundaries that provide the freedom to become the best he could be. Those same boundaries allow us the freedom to become our best selves. When we lack boundaries with others, many times it means we lack appropriate boundaries for ourselves. For example, many parents struggle with boundaries on themselves when it comes to technology, and it can be very difficult for, say, a dad to impose limits on his son's video game, computer, or smartphone use when he himself is unwilling to curb his own use of these technologies. Consistently modeling limits on yourself with technology or food or media or time or anything else about which your child might ask, why do you get to partake in that and I don't? This will help improve your relationship with your children greatly. Ask yourself, what limits should place on your phone or computer use? What about eating junk food or time spent playing video games or watching TV? By the way, Do your children see you setting proper limits between work time and family time as well? A lack of boundaries can result in exhaustion, confusion, frustration, and a loss of respect. But it takes energy and effort to institute proper limits, and even then you may still face opposition. Jesus led a life of balance, yet still faced persecution, tiredness, betrayal, and suffering. He held strong to his boundaries, even when it made other people unhappy. This is seen clearly in his dealings with the Pharisees and other antagonists. Jesus was not concerned about making people happy. He was concerned about their souls and their relationship with God. You can work on boundaries by the following. Number 1, resting enough so that you have sufficient energy to set and hold limits. One of the purposes of sleep is to prepare our brains for the next day. In addition to mental renewal, there is physical repair that happens as well during sleep. Make sure you make time to stop and recharge so that you will have enough energy to set boundaries on yourself and your children. Limit setting takes a lot of mental and physical energy. Number 2, learning to be friendly with the word no. No can provide breathing room and respect. It's okay to say no to others when you need to. It doesn't make you a bad person, friend, spouse, or parent. When you say no to someone, you have to say no to something or someone else. If you say yes to another task at work, being out with friends, or another project around the house, you are saying no to time with your spouse or your kids, or to time you might otherwise use to recharge. It's important to keep your focus on balance as a parent, spouse, employee, friend, and servant of Christ. Number 3, establishing rules and consistently reinforcing them. Our homes have fences around them that show the boundaries of our land. They don't move depending on how people feel. The boundaries are there, and people learn to respect them. In the same, parents need to set clear limits and enforce them consistently. In a study out of Pennsylvania State University, researchers discovered that it is important to teach children about good moral decision-making with respect to the internet at an early age, intentionally, so that they are able to more easily understand and follow limits on technology. These children who experienced limits were also more willing and skilled at placing limits on themselves. The researchers also found that younger teens were more compliant. Number 4, learning from other people you respect, who are able to provide boundaries with love and respect. Watch what people with good boundaries tend to do. They fill their emotional tank in order to most effectively and genuinely engage with others. Learn from these people and don't be afraid to take notes. Pay attention to what disciplines and or skills you are missing that can make it difficult to follow through on setting and enforcing boundaries. Number 5, establishing what is most valuable to you. What is it that you make time for? What do you spend your money on? Where do you give most of your energy? Rearrange your priorities so that what is truly valuable in your life is treated that way. Your family will love the results of you working on this trait. It will have long-lasting impacts on you and your family. In fact, it will increase both your level of self-confidence as a parent and the level of trust your spouse and children have in you. Congratulations if you scored well on the boundaries section of the test. This means that you are friends with the word no. Your goal is not your children's happiness as much as it is their growth. You are willing to go through the difficulty of training your kids to respect boundaries and limits. This takes consistency and intentionality. Two traits that are crucial for the long-term success of boundaries are love and respect. Keep in mind that if you are low on either or both of these traits, it could lead to resentment, rebellion, and big-time confrontation in your home. If you scored low on either of those, make sure you work really hard on them before you start establishing and enforcing more boundaries. If you're providing your family with the wonderful trifecta of love, respect, and boundaries, you are a gem to your family. Even if there is conflict, your kids will gain security in your home. They will learn to love, respect, admire, and thank you someday. You are truly providing a great foundation for your kids to learn about what it means to be an adult. Some people hold to the misconception that boundaries only serve to suppress our freedom and squelch creativity, but nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, we were created to thrive within certain boundaries, such as obeying God, living with His truth in our hearts and minds, and by listening to Him to gain much-needed wisdom. Psalm 119 provides a wonderful example of the benefits of loving God's commandments and living within their boundaries. There are many things in our lives that we need to set limits on. Relationships, the words we use, the way we use our time, the media we consume, and the use of our technology. Technology use among children continues to rise, and the average age of individuals who use digital technology on a daily basis continues to skew younger. Technology demands boundaries and limits. This can take a lot of energy and effort on your part as a parent, but fortunately you have the required skills. Because there are many demands on your time, your ability to say no is important to your sanity and to your families. There are so many good things to get involved with. You can help your family choose the great things to pursue. You also most likely help your family set clear limits on what media is consumed. This is important because of the impact of media on our children's minds and souls. Media influences belief systems, belief influences thoughts, and thoughts and emotions influence one another, resulting in actions. In other words, media has the potential of influencing our children's beliefs and actions. While there may be some conflict with your children over media boundaries, just realize that you are investing your energy and time in a very important area of your children's lives. Plugged In can be a great support to you in this area. This online resource helps sift through the culture's never-ending barrage of media to provide you, the parent, the best information possible as you develop boundaries for entertainment in your home. Since you scored high in boundaries, you are able to help your family by the following. Number 1, modeling consistency of rules, limits, boundaries, and expectations. Your children learn that your no is no and your yes is yes. This makes it less likely for your children to attempt manipulation if they don't appreciate a certain boundary you established. Your consistency helps them learn to respect boundaries. It is interesting to watch coaches and players argue with referees. You'll almost never see an official change a call because a coach or player whines or complains about it. The call remains the call, and everyone moves on. In the same way, your consistency helps your children not get stuck on the call. Number 2, teaching your kids responsibility. You can teach them the words no and yes. Help set more boundaries in life. They'll learn how to tell if they have energy, time, and resources to do certain things. They will also gain trust and respect from others by being able to say no when they need to. A lot is learned about people by what they say yes to. Help your children become mindful about the sorts of things they agree to. Number 3, modeling and teaching respect for rules, limits, and boundaries. This will help your children more effectively navigate friendships, dating, marriage, work, parenting, and society. Number 4, teaching what is right and wrong. Don't be afraid to have conversations about the reasoning for your various boundaries. This helps define the purpose of the boundary, and it allows your children to feel heard as they try to adjust to a boundary that they may not like or want. Number 5, guarding your family time. This is important. It is very easy to get busy and scattered. Family time is essential. Your family needs not just quality, but quantity time, and your ability to set strong boundaries helps safeguard this precious commodity. Boundaries are vital, even if we don't always like them. In that sense, it's a good thing that emotions don't always run society, because it could be constant chaos, fluctuation, and conflict. Thankfully, you are not controlled by emotions as you set necessary boundaries with wisdom, love, and respect. Your family and society will thank you. God bless you as you work on boundaries with your family. Thank you for listening.